Tyler, come on. Well, this is great to run into. I know that's it's holiday time and everything else, so the studio's not being used right now. But we have a couple camera people there. That's nice to see. Hi, everybody. So we're gonna just sit down for a few minutes, and Tyler and I have a great history because 5 years ago I interviewed him in Istanbul. So let's chat. Let's throw out some microphones. And that's nice. Hey, you haven't changed.
Good to see you.
You got a beard though. I don't think you had a beard last time.
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah. So Tyler, it's been 5 years.
It has.
We sat down in a sports arena, ice rink in Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah.
You were playing professional hockey there as a goalie, I believe. You're still a goalie?
Yeah, I was, not anymore.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And we had a great conversation, lots of fun. That was a really nice experience for me because in Turkey, it's all soccer.
Yes.
It's all soccer. And so to hear the sound of the puck and the boards and everything was lots of fun. And welcome to the Crossroads. I'm Martin Anthony, and tonight a special show because I'm Canadian. 1, 2, there's hockey being played in the background, which is something I've definitely missed for a long, long time. In regards to hockey, I have Tyler Bilton on my show. Tyler, welcome to the Crossroads.
Thanks for having me.
You're a goalie.
I am.
And you're from Canada. Yeah. And this is really exciting for me because in my years here, I didn't really know that hockey existed here. So what brings you to Turkey? What's your reason for being here?
Well, I graduated from college in the USA, and I always wanted to play professional hockey in another country. And I had an option to play in Belgium, but that fell through. My agent called me and says, "Hey, do you want to play in Turkey?" And I said, "They have hockey in Turkey?" He says, "Yeah, and they have professional hockey in Turkey." Well, I said, "I'd love to come here."
But time has passed, 5 years. What are you doing with yourself now?
Well, right now I'm living in Sweden now. I'm a head hockey coach, and I've been coaching there for the past hockey season. I was in Stockholm with a club called Ikara Ikoa. And now I just came back. I just got married on July 1st, and so I brought my wife back from Sweden, and we're just here visiting with my family in Campbell River. And actually, we're doing the whole tour of BC and the Okanagan, Vancouver, up to Port McNeill, and now Campbell River. Tomorrow we go to Tofino.
Right. Oh, yeah. This is amazing. Yeah. I'm so happy. Yeah. Thanks, Instagram. Because if it wasn't for Instagram, I wouldn't have known that he was here. And Tyler and I follow each other on Instagram, and it was like, suddenly there's there's BC, okay, and then there was like Vancouver Island, and and I sent a message, and just we're here. So it's connected. It's great to connect. And
it was good, yeah. It's been fun following you too on Instagram over these years and keeping in touch with social media too.
Yeah, well, thanks. I know it's been this is a new show for me here, and it's something that. We've had lots of fun to get ready, and I know this is a totally impromptu meeting now. So the studio is not always. It was just nice to walk in and have some time here. Yeah. So you were playing in Turkey. Then you were studying.
I moved to Halifax actually after that, and I started coaching. I volunteered with a Dartmouth High School there, and I worked. Had a couple office jobs as well, and wasn't really liking the office setting. I wanted to get back into hockey full time, and my buddy gave me a call and said that University of Maine might be hiring an assistant coach or a grad assistant. So I put my name in there and got hired, fortunately, and spent 2 seasons with the University of Maine women's ice hockey team. Completed my Master of Arts degree. And then I got a 1-year work visa and moved to Connecticut and started coaching at the University of Connecticut with the men's hockey team down there at UConn.
Okay.
And spent a year there, and then my work visa got put into a lottery for the U.S. lottery for work visas, and didn't get selected. So I got the boot outside the country. So luckily, fortunately for me, a job opportunity happened in Austria. So I jumped on that and went and coached at the Okanagan Hockey Academy in Austria for 2 years as a goalie coach and assistant coach with their program over there, and that was very rewarding and quite interesting. We did a lot of traveling, drove all over Central Europe. And then after that, I got a job offer in Stockholm, so jumped on that and moved up there, and I've been in Stockholm now. So, and my girlfriend, she's from Sweden as well, so it made sense to move closer to her since we were doing the distance for a while. Well, wife now, we just got married. So
I hear. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. So
wow, this is interesting, like, because I know that being Canadian, and I know when we did the show in Istanbul, I was just like grinning from ear to ear, and it was such a nice feeling to be in an ice rink with hockey in the background.
Yeah, it was fun.
And to have talking hockey, and I'm kind of like I follow hockey kind of like the Stanley Cup Finals,
of course,
and that kind of stuff. I don't follow it through the season, but it was just so nice to be in that nice, cool, fresh air.
Well, especially out in Istanbul, in a beautiful setting, the walls of Constantinople right next to the rink too. What a unique spot for a hockey rink.
That is definitely, and it was a surprise because I didn't know they had pro hockey.
Yeah, neither did I until my agent called me.
And so then you go, hey, sure, why not go to Istanbul or go to Turkey? You were playing in Ankara, right?
Yeah, I was in the capital there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you started to play hockey, did you know that kind of opportunity was out there in the future for you?
As a Canadian kid growing up, I didn't know a lot about the European market. I knew a lot about Canada, of course, major junior hockey and stuff like that, and the NHL, that's always on. But as I started growing up in the levels, when I started playing hockey in the States, I started hearing about college guys going over to Europe instead of playing pro in the US. And so I thought, hey, that sounds like a good opportunity for me, something to try. So fortunately, I had an offer in Belgium, and I had a good contract drafted up. But the last minute, the club backed out and took a Swedish goalie, and it was very late in the process. So I was kind of like, oh, I better get something going. My agent calls me and says, hey, you want to go to Turkey? I didn't even know they had hockey there. I go, that's what? Are you serious? And he said, yeah. So they honored my contract I had, and I flew over there, and that was quite a wild journey. There was something very unique about that. I could write a book on that. I probably will someday about that. But a very rewarding experience. Actually, I wrote my master's thesis based on my time in Turkey.
Seriously?
Yeah, which was very interesting. Yeah.
It's I find it fascinating when people look at different careers or different jobs, and sports. You play the sport, and you don't think about what's going to happen to your life when you travel. Now, there's Istanbul, there's Austria, Sweden, the States.
Yeah.
What is the driving force when you're in another place? Now, you don't have your friends around. No. You don't have that. You're a sports person in another country. What's your focus?
Well,
is it just totally about sports, or is there something inside your brain that keeps you going and go, I miss Canada?
I do. There's times where I definitely miss Canada, and there's the hockey culture. You really can't replicate that anywhere in the world. There's nothing like it here. But what I really like over there is just seeing how hockey is interpreted by different cultures and how they view it as a sport and how it's played. And it's just very rewarding just teaching kids in different languages and different cultures from different backgrounds. Like when I was at the Okanagan Hockey Academy, we had kids from all over the world, Israel, Russia, Sweden, even had a couple of Canadian kids come over there and play. And that was just a very unique way of seeing how they all come together to play a sport. Even though they're different backgrounds, they still manage to play the same sport. And I think for me, that's been my drive, is just seeing a different part of the culture and different part of the world and how they play the sport and what they view it as. And it's been fun. It's been frustrating sometimes. There's no doubt. It's been sometimes where it's like, this isn't how you're supposed to do it, because in Canada we do it a little differently. But then you kind of realize that that's just how it is, and you kind of accept that. And once you get that acceptance, then I think you kind of enjoy it and have more fun.
Right.
Yeah. And I think I struggled with that in Turkey upon reflection about how, when I first got to Turkey, I was like, this isn't how hockey's played, but they're still figuring out that they're just getting along and they're trying to do the best they can.
Well, that's what I found when we had our conversation in Istanbul. There was men's and women's.
There was, yes.
And some of the women's teams games, I know there was there was basketball scores.
Oh yeah.
Completely
lopsided.
And even with the men's, there was more international players.
Yeah, it was.
So that there was a little there's more sort
more
of
competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the spirit I saw of the players, they didn't care if it was 72-4 or
they
0.
Didn't care. No.
They were having so much fun, and you could see the checking.
Yeah.
And that was something.
The passion for the sport. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you, as a Canadian and you're overseas, do you ever get this sort of here comes the master from Canada, the master, hockey?
Surprisingly, yes.
Do you?
Yeah, which is really strange. Yeah, because as soon as they say, you're from Canada, like, oh, you're Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so let's listen to what you have to say about ice hockey. Especially even Sweden, which is still, it's a great hockey country, and they know just as much as we do nowadays, But they still have that almost like a little bit of a, you know, they're a little below, they feel like, oh, we have to look up to the Canadians because you guys invented the sport, which is still fascinating.
Wow.
And it's kind of humbling in a way sometimes too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I could be like, you know, Mr. like, you know, I played street hockey when I was a kid. I can go over there and like be cool.
Oh yeah, I think you just wear a Hockey Canada jersey and they'll get automatic respect that way.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's not about, you know, carrying the flag or anything else. It's having a hockey stick when you're traveling Europe. And then everyone will just respect you. You know? Okay, that's good to know.
Well, it's funny
Travel
too.
tips for all you people planning to go to Europe.
Yeah. Every time I get asked, Julie, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Oh, I coach ice hockey. Oh, where are you from? Canada. Oh, well, that's a stereotype. Yeah, I could have guessed that right away.
Do you have to wear a toque all the time over there?
Oh, in Sweden you do.
You do? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, some you know, there's stereotypes that have to be broken and stereotypes that have to be maintained.
Of course.
And as long as we're Canadians, we have to wear a toque when we go overseas. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, Sweden is pretty much your home now? Is that what you're...
Pretty much, yeah. It's pretty much going to be my home base now. My girlfriend, my wife, I keep doing that. She lives, we just got married, so it's kind of adjusting there. She lives down south in the southern part of Sweden near Malmö, right? And so I'm up in Stockholm right now, and we're doing the commute back and forth, and my plan is to kind of be down with her after I have one more season on my contract up in Stockholm, so I'll hopefully come down there and keep coaching and be down closer to her if I can, which would be nice. But we have a really good thing going in Stockholm with my hockey club as well, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm doing some scouting too. I've been working with Mark Edwards at hockeyprospect.com, helping them with their draft book, their big black book they put out every year. So, you know, I try to see as many Swedish prospects as I can every once in a while. And my general manager at my club, he's also a scout in the USHL. And so he's going to games every night, watching fast hockey or hockey TV as it's called, and we're always comparing notes on prospects and stuff. So, which is nice. You got that just a constant hockey culture, and we're always talking about the NHL and the SHL and Allsvenskan, and even the lower levels like Hockeyetten too for Sweden, because they have three top levels of pro hockey up there, which is really good. Right. Yeah. So it's great.
They have men's and women's.
They do. They have a women's.
What's the strength on women's over there?
It's good, and I'm seeing more and more female import players coming over to play in the SDHL. That's what they call the Women's Hockey League. Actually, a couple of girls I used to coach, they went and played in Sweden after, and one of them just played there this year as well. And I find that it's getting stronger and it's getting better. They're putting a little more money into the program, and I'm hoping that it really jacks up, especially with what's going on with the Canadian Women's Hockey League and the National Women's Hockey League in the U.S. I feel like they're going to start really hoping push through women's hockey in Scandinavia, especially in Europe. I find a lot of imports are coming over there to play.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to do a quick little break.
Sure.
And we'll be back in a few minutes. I have I'll mention now actually is that just the other day I was at the Vancouver Island Music Fest, and I was there talking with some people, and we're going to break for that. We're going to come back and talk with Tyler Bilton and a little more right after this. So welcome to the Crossroads. What's your name?
My name is Filippo Gambetta. I come from Italy.
And your name?
Emmeline Stam, grew up in Smithers and live in Toronto now.
Excellent. And I just saw the show. It was quite wonderful and entertaining. As I was just saying, my family, a lot of accordion players in my family, musicians. And what made you pick up the accordion? Why did you start playing?
I was listening to some amazing recordings that were in my house. Since my father is a guitar player, very interesting music was coming in the house through albums. So I was 14 and I was discovering Riccardo Tesi and a bunch of other great accordion players from my country, and I decided to pick up that instrument. Excellent.
And violin and piano, very talented, very wonderful. What got you into music?
Well, I always liked music as a kid, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in Smithers, and there's a huge fiddle community there. So when I was about 13, I joined the Valley Youth Fiddlers as a piano player, and then I saw the fiddles and I thought, I need one of those. So I ordered one from a catalog, as you do in Smithers, and started playing the fiddle.
Excellent. So what came together in the universe to bring the two of you together and playing on stage here in lovely Comox Valley?
Well, we had a mutual friend many years ago, Oliver Schroer, and so we met when Filippo was on tour in BC about 13 years ago. And then there was about 10, 12 years that we didn't really see each other or know much about each other. And then Felipe was recording a new album and remembered me and thought it would be nice to have piano on it. And so that kind of brought us together again. And about a year and a half ago, we had our first duo tour in Europe. And this is our 4th tour, and it's the first time in Canada for us. So it's pretty great.
One last question. What's better, Italy or here?
Oh, what a question. For sure, in this moment, 35 degrees with a lot of humidity is not that pleasant in my town climatically. But pasta is better in my country. Let's say that.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for visiting me at the Crossroads. My show is Martin at the Crossroads, and I'm happy to hear there's a stage named after me here. But are you playing tomorrow or later down at the Crossroads stage?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Well, enjoy everything. And I was going to ask one little question here as an aside. Is it okay if I play a little bit of what your performance on stage was on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Excellent. So we're going to put a little clip in there as well. Thank you so much. Take care. All right. Nice meeting you too. Bye-bye. So that's the Music Fest. It was a wonderful weekend. Everyone had a great time. It was sold out. It was just fabulous. So 10,000 people. It was lots of fun. And Tyler, I know this is impromptu, but I did take a little break there. Sorry.
That's all right.
Back to hockey.
Yeah.
Canadians.
Yeah.
Canadians in hockey abroad.
Yeah.
What would a good recommendation be then for someone, a young boy, girl, teenager who's in hockey that wants to consider that? What sort of recommendations would you give them?
I get that question regularly. Almost every spring I get players and coaches actually wanting to try to come over to coach in Europe or even play in Europe. And it's the same thing I give them, is that you have to try to really build up your resume as much as you can over here in North America to kind of get some credibility. When I was in the U.S., I volunteered with USA Hockey regularly. First, I started with the girls program, with the coaching under 10 girls, and all the way up to women's hockey U18 and stuff. And then I moved over to the men's side as well, and I work with a lot of NHL prospects with USA Hockey in the Atlantic District, and worked at the NCAA Division I level. So when you get that on your resume and that experience, that really kind of opened up a lot of doors for you. So you really got to kind of push yourself and play at the highest levels you possibly can when you get up there. So a lot of kids are really eager to jump over right away. It's like, oh, I just finished my season of Junior A, now I can go play in Europe. And it's like, no, that's not really how it's ready to go. You gotta push your time. And most guys jumping over about 21, 22 when they start making that break into European pro hockey. Okay. So play as high as you can. Western Hockey League, go to university, CIS, or is it U Sports now as they call it? They just changed their name. NCAA, get that college experience and then make that jump over there. Because that's what a lot of teams are looking for. They want to see you have that maturity, because they're spending a lot of money to get imports over there. People don't realize that it costs a lot of money to get imports. You got to pay your transfer card, your housing's usually covered, a vehicle or a bike, and then your salary on top of that, and salaries are usually tax-free. The club pays your taxes over there for you, right? So that's a big expense. So that when they're bringing you over there, you got to make sure that you're going to deliver for them. They look at points more than anything. And as a goalie, it's almost harder for goalies too, because they don't put a lot of importance on defense. They can have your locals do that. They want to have a lot of forwards that can put a lot of points up on the board and make the fans, bring the fans in. That's what it is. Right. But clubs are smart now, especially the lower level clubs. They realize that goaltending is very important too. But there's a lot of pressure on you. It's not an easy position over there. Yeah. It's very quick. If you're not doing well, it's pack your bags and you can go home the next day. Wow. And there's no job for you. Yeah.
So I'm starting to see now from our conversation here that Canada has there's another export that people maybe don't know exists, and it's our players into Europe.
Yeah.
Asia too as well.
Oh,
I'm sure.
especially now, with the Asian League picking up and the KHL as well, expanding into Kunlun. They have the Red Dragons now, so you're seeing more in South Korea hosting the Olympics soon as well. You're seeing more and more imports. I mean, there's even players on the South Korean Olympic team that are Canadian. They're Canadian born. They have Canadian passports, so they just got their Korean passports. Now they can play for the national team for the Olympics.
Right. Okay.
So that's it's one of our biggest exports, I would have to say, is hockey players.
Yeah. And it sounds from it, if you work hard and you have a good educational standing, academic standing, college, there's a pretty much. Would you say a carte blanche out there, or?
Well, there's definitely a good demand for high-quality hockey players from Canada.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, they understand that we have a really good work ethic too that comes over here, because you have to really fight for your spot in hockey in Canada. Yeah. You start from a young age doing tryouts, which is debatable whether it's good or not, but either way, it creates a very competitive environment for hockey players in North America. And the more competitive you are, the more you can want to fight for your spot. So every practice is a battle. So when these guys come over to practices, it's just like, let's go. I'm gonna have to earn my spot every day. And a lot of the Europeans don't have that, because they're short for players a lot of times, especially in certain countries like Austria or France, right? So they're just trying to get guys onto the team. You get these Canadian guys on there, and practice is like a hockey game for us. Yeah. It's almost a tryout every day. We don't want to lose your spot. So that's what we can bring a lot of times. That's what I've noticed from North Americans coming over. They bring that mentality with them, and it helps bring up the level a little bit. I don't be too talking on European hockey players, but that's just kind of what I've noticed, and a generalization.
Yeah. Well, my next question actually was going to be, sorry, Lamp, is the banter.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch any sport and you're close to the ice or close to the field, there's banter.
Always.
Which you never hear on television.
No.
Which can sometimes get pretty maybe out there.
Yeah.
How is it being like in a foreign country and you're bantering and no one understands you, or they're bantering and you don't understand them? How does that affect you psychologically?
Well, for me, at first as a player, it was easier to rub it off, because you have no idea what they're saying. You just kind of laugh at them and go, I really don't know what you're talking about, so this is fantastic. In Sweden, I found that as soon as they know that I'm English as a coach, then they can start switching right away into English and start getting some good chatter going on. I just try to keep my players safe, just keep it clean, nothing about the parents, mothers, stuff like that. You can just talk about it on the ice and stuff as you want, but keep it as clean as possible. There have been some instances though, as I've traveled throughout the other countries. When I was in Austria, and our club was like known as an Austrian club, we had a little bit of racist stuff going on, especially we went to like Hungary or Slovakia, and there's a bit of a checkered history between those countries as well. So that was a very interesting aspect for me as a coach, seeing my players go through that. And especially since my players on my team are from Israel or from other countries outside, and they're being grouped in as being Austrian. And there was a lot of some horrible things I heard actually in Hungary a couple of times, which was quite shocking to me. Yeah, we actually had some salutes and some pretty ugly stuff.
Wow.
But,
well, that's we want sports to be neutral. We want it to be universal.
Yes.
And I think having someone like yourself over there that says, "Hey, that's
not right.
That's not right. We don't do that."
No.
Where the sport comes from.
Exactly.
We can say things, but
yes.
there's
within reason.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's good. So is it good to have a foreign language?
It is. It's very, very helpful. I highly get German, know that French down. It really is helpful when you go over, especially since the countries are so small over there to travel around.
Right.
I didn't pick up German as much as I'd like to do, especially in Austria. They do not like speaking English. Yeah. So get that German down if you want to go over. Germany pays very well too. Switzerland, they've got French and German as well. So, a German's a very helpful language as well as French is. And now I'm working on my Swedish as well. Yeah. But everyone loves to speak English in Sweden. There's just, I try to speak Swedish and they go right to English. And no, just speak English. And I was like, okay, well. So it makes it a little easier up there at least.
Wow. Yeah. That's, I find this, I know doing my show over in Istanbul was a great challenge. Yeah. You're trying to communicate with your crew and you're trying to, get from A to B the same day in the same town. Yeah. And just kind of going back to that era of
Yeah,
our lives.
definitely.
There was how many pro teams were there in Turkey?
Oh boy, I believe at the time that season we had, it might have been 6 or 8. We're around there. We're hovering around that point. Most of the clubs were based in Ankara. We had about 4 or 5 clubs right there. We had Kocaeli, or I think how you say it, outside of Istanbul.
Kocaeli.
Yeah, Kocaeli. And then we had one club in Istanbul as well. And then it's kind of expanded a little bit, and then it's retracted a little bit with obviously some tumultuous times going on in Turkey. So we've seen some funding shrink it. The women's program was actually starting to expand, and then now it's retracting a little bit as well, which is unfortunate. And I was offered this year to be the assistant coach with the men's national team in Turkey, which would have been a terrific opportunity to go to New Zealand and coach with them. But hopefully that it kind of gets back going again. But I was very impressed with how they kind of embraced the sport, and they're really trying to make a go of it. They really were.
Wow.
Yeah, and I hope it gets back there again.
Tyler, thanks so much for
Thank you.
It was just wonderful to come out. I'm glad this happened because I was just all driving up from Courtney today. I'm like, hey, I'm going to talk to Tyler today, and it was really great. It's so good to see you. You're looking great.
Thank you too. Yeah, great.
Congratulations on your marriage.
Oh, thanks very much.
It's nice. If you want to contact me at the Crossroads, Martin at thecrossroads.tv. And thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye-bye.